With the Enlightenment? Well, let's start with history. The Enlightenment came against Christianity and feudalism. How did it go against Christianity? It went against Christianity by new values and new ideologies, by the value of reason, of this worldly pleasure, of science, of rights, of democracy. But as you notice, already within these values there are contradictions. One can stress one value at the expense of another. For example, the Marquis de Sade stressed his own pleasure, and he said that his pleasure justifies canceling the rights of other people, doing violence to them. We could take science, for instance, and say that if you're really, really scientific, like the Marxists thought they were, you don't believe in rights. Rights is something that is not universal, it's a historical phenomena. So you notice already that there are different values in the Enlightenment and one can cancel the other. A different, more historical turning point was the middle of the 19th century. Until that time, the Enlightenment was an ideology that fought Christianity and feudalism, the church and the kings. But midway the 19th century, it started to fight those from below. People started using the values of Enlightenment and the ideology of the Enlightenment to fight socialism, to fight workers, to put them down. And this continued all through the 20th century, as we know, in the Cold War. People used the values of individualism, of science, of reason, in order to repress the autonomy and independence of other peoples around the world. We already have 300 years of the Enlightenment in some countries, like the US, and we saw what it's capable of. It lived consistently with slavery. It participated as an ideology in the Cold War. People could say this is not the real Enlightenment. This is, and of course, both women and African Americans can use the Enlightenment against what was done to them. But still, we have 300 years of this as the official ideology, and our world is not much better for it. Finally, we need to look at the relationship between the Enlightenment and nature. What did it say about nature? Actually, its relationship to nature was usually in terms of control over nature, in terms of possessing nature. If you read Francis Bacon, the metaphors that he uses are metaphors of conquering nature. But today we are in a situation in which nature is very fragile and vulnerable, and we are vulnerable and fragile within it. As you know, there's global heating, not warming, of our earth will make us believe that we are not separate from nature, that we can't use nature indefinitely without creating harm to ourselves. Is the Enlightenment the right ideology to express this situation? I don't think so. I think the Enlightenment had its time, and we need some new ideas.